Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome to the round 7 preview. We're up to round 7 already. The season is flying. We're coming up against the reigning premier Brisbane Lions at Marvel Stadium. The early game on Saturday, 1:20 p.m. for the Anzac appeal round. It's a huge test for us. It's a huge test of our response, of our resilience, of what we're made of off the back of a very, very disappointing game. I mean, disappointing is putting it lightly, but a disgusting performance against the Western Bulldogs. And Brisbane have coming off their first loss of the season. They were handed a pretty big loss themselves against Collingwood at the Gabba. So it's going to be an interesting game for both sides coming into it. For us, we've got a couple of players that are looking to return. In terms of the injury updates, the big notable one is Dougal Howard. Hunter Clark is a test also. There's talks of potentially maybe a Boxall debut. Max Heath even. Boyd coming in. We need some height. It's going to be an interesting selection tonight when the teams drop. For Brisbane, their main injury return is Kai Lohmann, of course. They're one of their star small forwards, one of their million-star small forwards. Starcevic is still out. But apart from that, you'd imagine Lohmann in, and that would be the only major change. I think they've got Coleman, who is still a couple of weeks away, so thank God for that. Recent history, they've won the last 4. We've struggled more so at Marvel than at the Gabba, which is very weird, but that's been the case, and our last win came against them at Carrara, if you remember, round 17, 2021, so it's a long time ago. The main concern, I guess, from most St Kilda supporters' perspectives would be the lack of midfield, the players in form in the midfield, as simple as that. Ron Marshall, out of form. Jack Steele, out of form. McRae kind of going a bit more on the quiet side the last couple of weeks. Garcia, Windy going through there and doing their absolute best, but we're coming up against the Brisbane Lions, who have, for the last 3 or 4 years, one of the best midfields in the competition, led by none other than Lachie Neale. They've got Josh Dunkley, who goes through there. McCluggage goes through there. Berry goes through there. Obviously, both Ashcrofts go through there now. Oscar McInerney is a very honest and talented ruckman in his own right and can kick goals and push forward hard. Zach Bailey rolls through there. All their smalls, Rayner, they all love to roll through the midfield. And that's what makes Brisbane so hard to match up on, is that 1 second you're playing on Rayner out of the goal square, and the next second you're at a centre bounce, and he's exposing you with his contested ball-winning ability. And then behind the ball, which would be probably our second major focus outside of just winning the ball in the midfield, is when it goes forward into our forward line, making sure that our delivery is much better than it was against the Bulldogs, even though we only had 31 inside 50s. We cannot afford to sacrifice those inside 50s against Brisbane by kicking it down the throat of Harris Andrews, who is good for 8 to 9 marks. He's averaging about 8 marks a game. Against St Kilda, he's probably averaging about 17, the way we deliver the ball inside 50 at times. So we've been okay for parts of this season, but the last 2 weeks we've gone back to panicking because the pressure's been on by the Giants and by the Dogs, and we've not lowered the eyes and played our football. We've done it in patches in those games, and it worked, but we need to be doing it for more than 1 quarter a game, especially against Brisbane, who are wanting to bounce back hard after their first loss of the season. So, you know, the main worrying players are obviously Harris Andrews, Lachie Neale. I would put Cam Rayner in there because he always seems to kick 3 or 4 goals on us. It's his 1 or 2 great games a year. He's a good player, absolutely a good player. But this is 3 votes in the Brownlow type games, which we just can't be affording someone like him to get off the leash. Charlie Cameron as well. All of their smalls are going to be ready to feast when that ball goes inside 50. And then obviously they've got a couple of tools in there that are going to worry us. And the big one is Eric Hipwood. It's not Joe Danaher. He's retired, but Eric Hipwood averaging 2 goals a game. You've got Logan Morris, who's a young up-and-comer, and I think he's going to be a great player, to be honest. If he was ever available to get at St Kilda, I would absolutely. He's got great jukes. Kind of like Deer at Hawthorn. He's just young, but he flies for everything, and he just brings it down, and he's actually not a bad set shot. And then I think they've also got Sam Day, who's been coming in and doing a bit of a pinch hit role. He's going to take, obviously, another tall. So we've got Caminiti, Wilkie, And that is why I think Dougal Howard has to come in this week. We need another tall down there. Webster, Stocker, and our smalls in defence are going to have to be on guard as well. We've certainly got probably the smalls. We've got some good smalls in there. Jack Higgins third in the Coleman. They're going to have to worry about him and how we can expose that going the other way. And then obviously our tall stocks, it's been well talked about, struggling, but hopefully we can get Howard back and we can get some presence in the air. Because if we don't have any representation in the air in this game, and Ron Marshall isn't able to go forward and he's not playing his normal game, like we've not seen the last couple of weeks, then we're going to be in all sorts. But first and foremost, we need the players from last week that are going to keep their spots, that are lucky enough to keep their spots, to bloody lift. Because this to me is their one... If they're not dropped this week, some of these players, this is the warning. This is the absolute warning. You're playing the reigning premier on your home deck. You cannot afford to go there and roll over and just let them do whatever they want, which we've done the last couple of years at Marvel. Last year, they beat us by 85 there. We cannot have a similar result. We cannot have anything that's reminiscent, anything that looks anything like the Bulldogs game. If we do, alarm bells start to ring, and I think that's when some statements need to be made, because we're beyond that point. This is us 5-6 years ago where these results, you just cop them. We're not in that zone anymore. Ross isn't in that zone where we cop these losses. Every week we need to be learning, we need to be getting better and trying something different. And the worst thing is to go into this week and play exactly the way we played last week, not worry about bringing in any tools, and get done the exact same way. That's insanity. That is the definition of insanity. We all know that. So I want to see something different, whether it's Boxall coming in, Max Heath, just for some presence in the forward line and making them accountable. Payne is obviously very good as a partner with Harris Andrews. He's more of that physical, contested defender. So you'd imagine Mitch Owens could probably try and take him out of the game, and then Harris Andrews probably sits on Cooper Sharman. And to be fair, Cooper Sharman's done jobs, like defensive forward jobs, on players like Harris Andrews and Tom Stewart before. Maybe that's something we consider again. But all of that is a moot point if the midfield's not kicking in. So we need Steele to really lead from the front. We need Jack McRae to get back to his early season form. We need Windy. I don't know if he tags maybe a Lockie Neal, but they've obviously got McCluggage and a few other players that can go. The Ashcrofts. Garcia is probably going to go head-to-head with one of the Ashcrofts. Maybe Windy goes on the other. Maybe he tags Will. And then we worry about Levi with Garcia. That could be quite an exciting youngster battle. And then Steele maybe head-to-head with Dunkley, which might be a like for like. And then McRae on Neal. That doesn't sound too bad. I think we can kind of work with that if we play proactive football and we're not just worrying about what Brisbane do, because it was pretty damning on the weekend seeing Woody's breakdown and just how reactive we were against the Bulldogs, where I think we're on our home deck. As much as they are the reigning premier and it's intimidating coming up against them, we're going to have to play some proactive football, and Sinks and Naz need to work. I don't really want to see Naz going into the guts too much in this game, because if we do, I feel like Brisbane are winning. If we're dominating off half-back and generating scores that way, with Naz and Sinks using the ball well and breaking the lines and getting their metres gained up beyond that 400-500 mark, I think then we're in with a shout. But this is going to take a monumental effort, Sainers. Brisbane are very good, although, you know, in every win this year, they've been down at halftime, and they were down at halftime on the weekend against a good team, and that team didn't let them come back into the game. So if we do start well, which we've done the last 2 weeks, we cannot afford to just turn off. You know, the Giants, we started well, 4-2, click, 2 second, third quarters, owned by the Giants. On the weekend last week against the Dogs, started like a house on fire, looked like we're going to blow them out of the water. You know, I think I checked on the replay. Within 18 minutes, we went from 2 goals up to 4 goals down. We just can't afford to have such a shift in momentum. If they kick a couple goals, slow the game down, a bit of leadership on field, control it, and try and bounce back. We cannot afford to see them just walk it out of the middle, bombing it into Hipwood. Rayner marks or roves it, and, you know, they kick easy goals that way. If they're going to win, let's make it bloody tough for them, all right? Apart from that, we're going to be obviously wearing the Anzac Day Guernsey, which looks grouse. Looks absolutely awesome. So you'll be able to purchase those. And obviously pre-game Sainers, just a quick shout out. It'll pop up on screen. Make sure you screenshot this part. the offer for Friends of Fire, Gate 3, check it out. They've obviously got a Saints TV discount for you a couple hours before the game. It's an early game, so they're doing sort of a brekkie burger type deal. So make sure you check that out and obviously support them any other time you're at Marvel. They're a great sponsor of the channel, and we want to help them out as much as we can. So on that note, Sainers, a bit of a basic one. Honestly, we just want to see, just go back to the basics in this. Go back to the effort, tackling, chasing. Win the ball in the guts. It's on you. It's on the midfield this week. I know it's a collective thing, but generally speaking, the tempo of a game is dictated by the first contest, and if we lose that first contest easy, that really does set the tone for the rest of the game. And if we can win the first couple or break even, we're on. And it's going to be a massive, massive test for our senior players as much as it is going to be for our youngsters. So hopefully, saying as you turn out, I know it's an early game, and after last week, it's very tempting to just stay at home and watch on the telly. But if you can, it's in Melbourne, it's Anzac Day, get out, go to Friends of Fire, have a feed, and then get to the game and support the boys as much as you can. So on that note, Sainers, thank you very much. Put your predictions in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling about the game in the comments. We'll have the teams out tonight live at 6:30, and obviously game Saturday, and then my review after that. So on that note, thank you very much, Sainers. Enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.